In the past, I've shared some of my favorite interviews with you. The funniest, my Holy Grail interview, a few that really surprised me, so on and so forth. Well, up next, an absolutely touching conversation with one of the last living legends of the Brill Building, who had one of the biggest comebacks ever in the 1970s. This is an interview that was really soul-stirring, where he tells the story of a song that restored his faith in his gift and his career. Trust me, it's a moving song story that you're never going to forget. Next on Professor of Rock. Hey, music junkies, Professor of Rock, always here to celebrate the greatest artists and the greatest songs of all time. Make sure that you subscribe below right now to get our daily song stories straight from the legends, and click on our links below for our latest merch and our Patreon for even more content. This helps us to keep this as a daily channel. I love interfacing with artists more than anything in the world. I learn so much and I walk away a better person for having had the experience. I've shared some of my favorite interviews in the past. Like I said, the funniest, the ones that really exceeded my expectations, and my favorite songs, just really great at conversations. Well, today's interview, or song story, if you will, this story is definitely one of the most touching interviews I've ever been a part of, where this legend explains the process of writing a heart-wrenching song that has been covered by so many legends: Carpenters, Andy Williams, Johnny Mathis, Shirley Bassey, so many more. His storytelling is so amazing, so riveting. You feel like you're experiencing it again with him. This is one of those pinch me interviews for sure, where you'll leave better than before you watched it. It's the legendary Neil Sedaka with the story behind his 70s masterwork, Solitaire.
He's playing solitaire.
Neil Sedaka was flying high in the 50s and the 60s. He was one of the biggest selling artists in music, with a writing partnership with Howard Greenfield that helped prop up the legendary Brill Building. He had hits like Calendar Girl and Breaking Up Is Hard to Do.
All that we've been through, and breaking up is hard to do.
And then the Beatles came to America, and overnight, Neil couldn't give away his music. He couldn't get a gig or a record deal anywhere. It got so bad that he moved his family to the United Kingdom and played CD dives for years. He did everything that he could do within his might to break through. He struggled for almost a decade, through the late 60s into the 1970s. And then in 1971, Sedaka reunited with RCA and released an album called Emergence, releasing several singles. So good friend and New York music impresario Don Kirshner did his best to make the US release of Emergence a comeback for Sedaka. But the album and singles didn't take it all. What's worse is RCA didn't really put much into promoting the album. Then in 1972, Sedaka went on a successful English tour, and he was introduced to the future members of 10cc, who would of course hit the top of the charts later on with I'm Not in Love.
I'm not in love, no, no.
He ended up recording the Solitaire album at their studio, and he also started a very important partnership with lyricist Phil Cody. This experience would be just the spark that would lead to Sedaka's big comeback, as Solitaire became his first hit in almost 10 years. And I think it's his finest song, one that would be one of the most covered of its time. So up next, Neil himself relates the story of creating this breathtaking composition and how it restored his career and his confidence. Again, this is one you won't want to miss. As we go into this interview, I do want to thank our sponsor, Zenni Eyewear. At Zenni.com, you are able to customize your eyewear with a prescription lens or non-prescription lens. You can do sunglasses. If you just want a certain look or a distinctive color or a particular style of lens, go check it out today at Zenni.com. Here's the interview with Neil.
He's playing solitaire.
I've been waiting to ask you about this song because it's one of my favorite songs. It's just one of those songs that's so magical, the melancholy. It's like you said, when you talk about saloon songs, those great songs, like One for My Baby.
Make it one for my baby.
Okay, I was inspired by Frédéric Chopin. I was a
Chopin-esque, you
very
said.
Chopin-esque. I loved to play Chopin as a piano student. And I sat at the piano, wrote the whole tune. Da 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 da, da 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 da, da 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 da. Finished the tune. Phil Cody came. We wrote it upstate New York, and he started to cry. He said, "Oh my God!" He said, "Let me walk through the woods for a couple of hours." He said, "What do you hear?" I said, "Something sad, Lonely Man." He came back a couple of hours later and with this magnificent lyric, and I sang it, and we both cried. He said, I lost it. It'll always be your song. I said, "Phil, you wrote it with me." He said, "No, I just heard you sing it. That's it." I said, "Come on. You can't write a song with just a melody." He married it perfectly. It was beautiful. It was beautiful.
I always read that Roberta Flack, first time ever I saw your face.
Okay. Wow, you know everything. There was a girl upstate New York who was very autistic. She was a friend of mine. And she said, "You haven't written the great one yet." And I was listening to Roberta Flack. "First time ever I saw your face." The tempo, spaces, breaths, breathing. And that inspired me with Chopin, inspired me to write Solitaire tune. And then when Phil married with the lyric, I played it for this artistic girl. She said, "Holy, you did it. Now you're a writer."
Wow.
Yeah. And I was so proud because I admired this girl. She was very artistic. Was into paintings and art and...
Gosh.
Yeah.
Well, and Cody talked about it, and you've talked about it too, that there was a spiritual feeling with that song. I mean, it just was something that
Yes.
you couldn't deny.
Couldn't deny, from Karen Carpenter's cover to Shirley Bassey's belting. You can't, Andy Williams, Johnny Mathis, oh my God.
Now solitaire's the only game in town.
And every road that takes me down.
Neil Sedaka, I met in Great Britain. I was doing a performance there for a month at a time at a very big sort of nightclub. And Neil, I think, was living in London at the time, or in Great Britain, not specifically London. But I was so thrilled to have that song. It was a wonderful song. I listened to his recording of it and fell in love with the song. And I was so happy that we were successful with our performance of that song. Sometimes, you know, it goes along and things work out. But this was really quite a wonderful, wonderful performance that we did, and I was so happy. And he was too. Yeah. These composers that do these songs and give them to me, and you know, and even though they're different performances, it's very flattering.
Well, when a song is such a great song like that and recorded by so many people, and of course Neil Sedaka himself, who such a great writer and singer as well.
A wonderful song,
Yeah.
Solitaire.
I once played Love Will Keep Us Together for him before it came out. He said, "It's a beautiful song, but it's not Solitaire. What am I going to do with Love Will Keep Us Together with my voice?"
I love it.
Yeah.
Well, I read that Cody may have been inspired by the divorce he was going through. He talked about that he had to take some tedious train rides from his parents' house into the city, and
right.
He brought a deck of cards
And
with
he-
him, and he played
He
solitaire.
passed the time playing Solitaire.
Gosh, what a great metaphor too for just somebody who lost love through indifference. And
Oh my God.
and when Elvis Presley covers your song,
He's playing solitaire.
as well as Sheryl Crow, but a great song can last generations. And American Idol, let's talk about that really quick.
I loved American Idol, and I said to my wife, Liba, "How do I get on?" She said, why don't you pick up the phone? And I got some producer there. I said, hi, it's Neil Sedaka. She said, come on, who is this? I said, no, it's Neil Sedaka. I love the show. I'd love to be a judge on the show. She said, we're having a meeting. I'll call you back in an hour. She called me back. She said, you're on in 2 weeks, and the 5 finalists will sing all Neil Sedaka songs. So somebody sang Where the Boys Are, somebody sang Bad Blood, somebody sang Laughter in the Rain. Ruben did The Slow Breaking Up, and Clay did Solitaire.
He's playing solitaire.
And of course, a #1 hit for Clay Aiken.
Oh boy. I walked into when there were record shops, I said, do you have Solitaire by Clay Aiken? He said, you're the 50th person who walked in today asking for that record.
Wow.
And Clay ran to my house before it came out. He said, I have a surprise for you. I hold one note 15 seconds. And he held the high note.
And all of a sudden, everybody wants your autograph and wants to take pictures with you, all the young people.
I could not walk in the street after I did American Idol. I could not go to the cleaners. 8-year-olds were asking for my autograph.
And even though Clay Aiken didn't win the American Idol, he had a much bigger career right out of the box. #1 on the charts. And very much due to that song, I know that he said that just a beautiful song and how much...
His mother loved the song, that's why he did it.
And he framed you gave every one of the American Idol...
that week, the 5 finalists, I gave them a signed lead sheet of the song they sang.
And when he did his basement, he put it up for his mother.
How nice.
Just incredible.
And then when Clay recorded it, he said, oh, it sounds like he's smoking pot in the song. A little hope goes up in smoke. So Phil had to rewrite the lyric for Andy Williams. Another day, a lonely day. Instead of a little smoke goes up in smoke, pot goes up in smoke.
The thing about Andy Williams recording it is that he said that it was so poignant to him because he was going through a separation with his wife at the time that he went and recorded it. Mm-hmm. And it's just got that, like you said, the lyrics had to be changed, but what a great way that he sang that.
He called me in England. He said, will you produce my next album? I love your writing. I said, oh, the great Andy Williams. My sister said, you'll never be Andy Williams. I told him the story. I said, gee, I don't know if I'm on the road. I'm producing my own. I don't know if I have the time. I was in a schmuck again. I should have, and he did about 5 of my songs on that album.
And the Carpenters, of course, took it to #18, the pop charts. But a lot of people, many Carpenters fans, consider that to be Karen's best vocal.
Well, that contralto voice.
I know.
I opened for the Carpenters, you know that story.
Yeah.
And Richard Carpenter fired me because I got a standing ovation every night. That's an old story.
Yeah, I love it. But that went #1 AC as well for the Carpenters. But the reason her voice sounded so great is because of the magic of the song, the lyrics, the melancholy. When you write a song that touches people like that, it's like they can put their own spin on it, but it has that feeling still inside of it.
The vocalist has to feel it, has to get it. I have a theory. The thing that makes hits are the marriage of words, music, and vocal. If that vocalist really gets into that lyric and melody, that combination makes it a #1.
Well, this is what's so compelling about this song and your story is that when you played the Royal Albert Hall, you played a couple of songs, and they were all your new songs, and then you got to Solitaire, just you alone at the piano.
And solitaire's the only game in town.
And after it was over, standing ovation.
First, there was a couple of moments of silence, complete silence. 4,000 people, and then a thunderous standing ovation.
Even bravo, bravo. I read that they were
It was the
screaming.
thrill of a life. That was a thrill of a life. When Casey Kasem played Laughter when it was #1 in America, it was a thrill of a life.
That was a turning point for you, I read.
That was
like, that was the moment that it all came together. And of course, then you see Elton, and Elton says, I want to release your stuff. But that moment, such a poignant moment in your career.
Yes, because I knew that I had matured and I was on the right course. I was writing something that people can relate to, the emotion, make them cry. If you can make them cry or laugh, or
you got
that's it.
He's playing solitaire.
Hey, make sure to leave us a comment about Neil Sedaka and this breathtaking song. What are your memories and your thoughts on this interview? Let us know in the comments. If you like this video, we do invite you to be a full-time part of our community by subscribing below. We'd love to have you. Also, we invite you to check out our Patreon. Just give it a look. Help us keep the music alive. Until next time, 3 chords and the true difference.